apologies for turning up late. In fact, I was pretty unwell since last night, and I was in touch with Rahul, and I'm struggling. But clearly, this was an occasion, this was an evening I would not have missed for anything. And please excuse the late, because as we say in our cricketing language, I was wicket keeping most of the day, so I just about managed, to stop that. So luckily I'm here, and thank you for your patience. People have spoken about Vinu Bhai, and I think it was from his time itself that this business of calling elders as Bhai came along, and which is such a good thing, which is something that you find only in India, in Indian cricket. You can't really think of anybody in say England or Australia or New Zealand calling anybody brother or anything of the sort. So this is such a nice, respectful way of acknowledging somebody senior, somebody who is also a mentor, and somebody who's always going to be around to give you some tips in his inevitable way. And that exactly what Vinu Bhai was. Vinu Bhai had this incredible knack of conveying a message, often without saying anything, often with just raising the eyebrow, often with just a shake of the head. And I think when you are being watched by somebody like him, behind the nets or just behind the bowler's arm in a net practice, you are that much more serious. One of the things that he said to me when he was our coach for St. Xavier's College was, you have to practice every time as if it is a proper match. So although you might not actually have too many bowlers around who would challenge you, I would still like you to think in terms of situations, and therefore bat according to those situations. And he would, from behind the nets, give me those situations. He would say, now just defend, now just play this shot, now just play this. Of course, those days we didn't have anything called a lofted shot, because although Vinu Bhai himself played the lofted shot to a great extent, we were not really encouraged to play the lofted shot. And it was absolutely incredible, because the way he would make you understand the situation, because I think what he was doing with that kind of coaching was, he was not only telling you how to get your technique honed to a particular situation, he was also building you temperamentally. And I've always believed that at the highest level, what separates the men from the boys is temperament. If your temperament is very good, never mind whether your technique is not the best, I think the temperament can carry you through difficult situations and help you to achieve your goals. So I think that was one of the biggest pluses. Then a few years down the road, when I played a bit of Ranji Trophy, and we had the selection of the Indian team to West Indies. That evening, Saeed Ahmad Hatia, the fast bowler, who I think in today's day and age would have walked into the Indian side, because he really was quick, and he had a mean outswinger and an in-swinger which would knock the stumps over most of the time. In fact, I remember that not a lot of people in the Mumbai team were keen to stand in the slips, because the edges used to fly so fast, thick and fast, that it wasn't easy to stand in the slips to him. So Ajit, of course, being the champion slip fielder that he was, he would always be in first slip, and he had me in second slip. And I believe that it was only because I took 3 catches in my Ranji debut that I managed to get another chance for the finals. This was in the semi-finals over here. I got out for a duck to the 5th ball of the over, and in the second innings I would have got a pair. But luckily the fielder was a little bit away and in the leg slip position, and I managed to get a boundary to open my account. Remained not out, but I think it was the catching that got me a place in the next game. I remember my parents had come for that game. I don't think they wanted to watch too much after that 0. And Vijay Bhai met both my parents after I got out for a duck, and he said, don't worry. Even Len Hutton got a duck in his first game of, I mean, there was Len Hutton, and here is somebody making his Ranji debut. And but I don't think my parents, my father never forgot. My father told me that evening that Vijay Bhai said this, so it was his way of conveying a message from wonderful, one of India's greatest cricketers, and therefore, it was great encouragement for me. So, Saeed and I, we were here on the day the selection was to be done. The selection meeting was, I think, somewhere in one of these rooms up here. And at that time, the Mumbai Cricket Association office was at the base of the North Stand. So we went there and we looked around, and the guy said, no, the team has not been announced. And so we went to the Eros cinema. Saeed and I, we saw a movie. I think we saw half the movie and we came back. And we were told that the team has still not been announced. Now we could wait until about 6:30, and we decided that we'll take the train and go. Saeed used to stay somewhere near Bandra. I had to get off at Dadar. We both promised each other that if whoever comes to know what the team is, he would call the other up and convey the message. I lived about 5 minutes away from the Dadar station, and as I went, and we had a ground floor flat, and as I was entering, I could hear a bit of excitement in the house. And so when I rang the bell and the door was opened by my mother, she was very excited, and she just gave me a quick hug and said, quick, there is vinu mankad on the line. So the news that I was selected for India, I heard from Vinu Mankad. Vinu Bhai was on the other line, and he said, "Beta, well done. You've been selected. Now go on and bat freely." Those were his words. Then, of course, he handed the phone to Ashok, who was my teammate at St. Davis and Mumbai. And we talked a little bit about this, and then I completely forgot. So much was the excitement, completely forgot to ask if Saeed was in the team. And of course, those were the days when it was just the All India radio, and you heard the news on the radio. And by the time I sort of got to know that Saeed was not in the team, I didn't have the heart to actually call him. I mean, how does one call somebody and say, "Look, I'm in the team, but you're not in the team"? So I didn't have the heart to call him. Saeed is still not. Forgiven. Because every time we meet in London, and we meet very regularly, he still sort of tells me, "You still did. Why did you not call me?" And I still have no explanation for it. But after that, when I came, from the West Indies, Vinu Bhai was very, very happy. And one of the things before that, when we were at college and we used to finish our practice, was we would accompany Ashok back home in the Marine Lines area. Sindhu, the building, wasn't it? Sindhu, the building. And we would go there, and Vinu Bhai would be sitting there, and when we came in after a match or something, he would ask what happened, etc. He also would invariably, without fail, inquire about my father. Apparently, my father had played against him, and my father was the exact opposite of me as a batsman.
Yes, very much.
So, because he liked to smash the ball in the air, and he would hit the ball everywhere. So apparently, my father, before the new Hindu Gymkhana pavilion was built, the new Islam Gymkhana pavilion was built, my father had hit Vinu Bhai for 2 or 3 sixes from Hindu Gymkhana onto the roof of the old Islam Gymkhana, old Islam Gymkhana. And so Vinu Bhai used to always refer to him as a Danda Master. went, Danda Master, how's Danda Master? Danda Master kaise hai? So I would say, and every time I went back and I would tell my father, you could see the delight on his face, because I mean, there was so much respect for Vinu Bhai. I mean, his achievements were absolutely phenomenal. I think Madhav Bhai has already spoken about his deeds at Lord's, which is still, after so many years, it is still referred to as the mankad test, because he scored 72 in the first innings, 184, and in between a small matter of taking 5 wickets. And I think one of the wickets, if I remember rightly, was Len Hutton got Madhav Mantri bowled Vinu Mankad 150. So there was that little connection as well. So that's something. Every time I go to the Lord's dressing rooms, I love looking at the honors board over there, and the honors board says, Vinu Mankad 5, and then there is that 172, 184, which is always there. So that is something which is absolutely fantastic. Many years later, 1977, 78, we were in Australia, and we were coming towards the end of the tour. We went into the last test with the scores 2-all, and the last test was in Adelaide. And the South Australian Cricket Association, in those days, every association gave you a dinner where a lot of their, former players, a lot of their sort of, local players would come for the dinner and meet the Australian as well as the Indian team. So we were sitting down there, and it was like tables laid out, and on the main table we had Sir Don Bradman, and I was on his right. On Bradman's left was our captain Bishan Singh Bedi. On Bishan's left was Polly Obriga, and Bradman was generally talking about cricket and everything. And my captain Vasu had told me, you are not going to miss even 1 second of what he says. You are going to absorb everything. So I was into a situation where I wanted, to go to the toilet. But Bradman, speaking in Vasu's words in my mind, I'm saying, I can't go, I'm waiting. And it was, it was taking a long time. Anyway, so Don was speaking about, he had an amazing interest in not just in cricket, in a lot of things. He was asking me about, Shiv Sena. What is the Shiv Sena? So he had a lot of interest in India. And one of the things he kept saying was that he was very sorry. Sorry was not the thing. He said he should have gone and appeared on the deck when the boat carrying the Australians on the way to England docked in Mumbai. So Bradman's talking, and he had this habit of the bread he was having. He would break the bread and apply a little bit, very lightly, some butter. And the amazing thing was, every time the crumbs would fall, the meticulousness with which he gathered the crumbs back again and then put it back on the side of the plate was something which was just fascinating. You would say that, so what if the breadcrumbs are there? But he just didn't want to leave anything, unclean. So he would just sort of take it and put it there. Anyway, while we are talking, suddenly Polly Obriga from the other end leans back in his chair, and in his typical voice, Polly Kaka, he was our manager, leans back and he says, "Hey Sunil, hey, what they put the Vinu game to?" So he's leaning back, and he's asked me to ask him that, but because Sir Don was closer to him, Sir Don heard that and said, "So what did Polly say?" So I said, "Well, because he spoke to me in that same language the beginning of the tour when we were sitting down for the playing conditions. And I had to tell Polly, I don't understand the language, you have to speak to me in English. Because I think all of you who have actually encountered Polly Gaga know that his first language, anytime he spoke to anybody, whatever, be it a foreigner, he would always speak in that Gujarati, Parsi Gujarati. And that's what he must have done with Sir Don as well. So Sir Don had to sort of, at that stage, so anyway, so I said, look, he wants to know how good Vinu Mankad was. Oh, so Sir Don got pretty excited.